Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday. It's May 9th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. You can see we rallied today. This would be the bar for today. A little more volume today, still lower than normal, but a little more volume today. Um, nice, nice rally. We really had two trends. We had the early trend, and then we had a break, but we just went into another trend is what that's what really happened. So I'll show that to you when we flip over to 2000 tick chart. But yeah, you can see nice rally. We're starting to get up in here to overbought territory. So we still got a little room here. We're reapproaching the midline here as well, so we could test that. It looks like we're going higher. It looks like we're headed for a retest of the highs to me. That would be my guess. Um, it's obvious this isn't right. Maybe it looks something like this, but it's hard to say. So until we get a top here, we don't know where this is going to turn out at. So anyway, there it is for today. I think we can just remove this for now. And we've overshot our two legs up here for sure. But that happens sometimes. Sometimes one leg's bigger than the other. It's amazing how many times they're almost exact to the tick, but they're not always. There's exceptions to the rule, and this could be one of them. So, and a lot of times you do get your two legs. This was really close, and then but the trend's not over, and prices will continue to go higher or continue to go lower, whichever direction you're trading in. But let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart, and we'll take a look at it, get through the trades, and we'll wrap this week up. No chart lessons on Fridays if you're new. I used to do them Monday through Friday, but it just got to be too much. There's a lot that goes into making that video, an hour or two out of my day every day, and 5 days was just starting to tax me too much. So I like to leave a little early on Fridays, get out of there by lunchtime. So I stopped doing them on Fridays. So if you're looking for a chart lesson on Friday, you won't find one for that reason. I do them Monday through Thursday. But anyway, let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart and take a look at it. Okay, here's a look at it. You can see our early trend, two-tiered trend. We had a break and a couple legs up, but this continued. So once you see that, go ahead and draw your new trend channel. And even after a break and a new high here, we came back, and this, of course, this was after 2:30, but we still respected that trend line even then. So, and we closed almost on the high today. There were a couple of news items at 7:30, unemployment claims. Looks like it had very little effect on the market, and we actually jumped up at first, but they took it back real quickly. So, and then of course we had the bond auction, and people have been watching this lately. Generally, this doesn't create a lot of volatility, but I think it's important to watch it now. I wouldn't say you necessarily have to be flat or anything. I don't think it really affected much today. I think the bonds were mostly unchanged. But there's some concern that bond rates continue to climb. That could be a sign that inflation is not under control, and they're not going to lower rates. They may have to increase rates. So just keep an eye on your bond rates. There's some concern with those lately. You know, a lot of times the old adage is you know, when stocks are falling, you buy bonds, and when stocks are rising, you sell bonds or whatever. But they're more in sync now than they have been. It seems like. So just keep an eye on. You know, just watch that news item, and I don't think you have to be flat necessarily, but that could change if things get crazy. So I just keep an eye on it. But there it is. You really got two separate trends here. This one's just slightly flatter than the previous one. The volume may be up a little, not a whole lot, but I would say it's up a little bit today. Maybe a little bit more than yesterday for sure. I can remember when you'd have to scroll for a couple of pages here to get all of one day in back during COVID. But anyway, let's zoom in here. all we're worried about is the chart, really. The only reason we pay attention to these because we generally want to be flat if it has a chance to have high volatility and mess us up. So other than that, we don't care. We don't care what the news says, because even if you know what it's going to say, it doesn't help you in the least bit. So, but 7 o'clock came as we're climbing up through here on this rally here, and then we're just kind of working sideways here back to the trend line. We're coming off the high, and we're working sideways to down. But there's a triple test right there and a second entry long and a very nice signal bar. I marked this green, but I really like it. I mean, you might argue there's some congestion there. I still think there's room to get out, maybe. Let me just verify that. I mean, I like this in real time. I mean, yeah, you got room to get out there. I mean, I really almost want to make that blue because I liked it in real time. I was a little concerned about the congestion, but you know, we still went higher and we still had two legs. That's two legs back to the trend line and the EMA, and this is a confirmed trend. I mean, that's like your ideal trade, and you did have to let it pull back here and ride that out, and that could have spooked a lot of people out, but you know, it works in the end. So and of course we finally get a break here, and we can't make that new high, but I don't see anything I really want to sell here because we're bouncing at the midline, and so you just can't go short right into that midline when we've been bouncing that many times at it. It would have worked, but you don't know that ahead of time. You can't go short here into the lows, and so it runs down and it bounces. Well, I draw my trend line there, and that turns out to be this this first channel we've got here. But I don't see any chance to really get in this. This is starting to look like one of those strong trends, but I just don't really. By the time you figure that out, you're not really coming back to the trend line here. You've got one entry off the trend line, maybe right there. I think it's more like that right there. And you do get a close outside and a new low all in one bar. And there's a hidden second entry. I made this green. It's a little aggressive. But there's some reasons to like that, especially when this is starting to look like a really strong trend. So maybe you take that trade. It works. And then, of course, it's not very long before you get a break of the trend line. But it's still a good trade. Of course, here you come up short, and then you get your break. You get a first entry. You don't quite make a new low, but you get a second entry here. If you had a good signal bar, I mean, that's your ideal trade. You want to see a second entry there. I wouldn't say this is ideal because it does close below the EMA. It's not quite back to the trend line, but it's still a second entry long in what's been a fairly strong trend. So, you know, if you have a good signal bar, you probably have to take that. But it runs up. You make a new high here. I like this trade just simply because you got this big move up, and you really got a hidden second entry there and a big strong signal bar right off the key entry point. And this actually broke lower and failed and then turned up. So I like that just as a trap. I don't know if you want to wait till it closes and enters, but I like going long above those two matching bars right there. And this one backed up a little, so you might argue too there's a triple test there. But you got this one leg, and it's really a little two-legged correction. So at the least, you probably expect you'll get a measured leg up here. And so that gives you, and that's about where the other measured leg is after this first leg up. So you're getting two targets there. Of course, this thing just keeps going. Then we finally get a break here. You get a close outside a new low, but no signal bar, and you just never really get a chance to enter that. Then we start working sideways, and you do get a triple test here, and this closes inside. And this makes a high. There's a 2-bar matching high, so you could call that a new swing high, and this breaks higher, so you could call that a new high. So that's the first entry. It's two legs back on a triple test. And then we run up and we just make a double top. And this is a lower high, even though this is somewhat of an inside bar. I'd usually tell you to probably skip this, but because we're in this range, you kind of switch over to range rules, and it is also a first entry, second entry. We're not necessarily looking for a second entry, but it's just, I mean, it's such a low risk bar. It's 4 ticks. Um, I mean, I liked it. I went back and forth about whether or not to make it green or not, but it's also, you could also argue that's a triple test across there. Oops. What happened here? And you can see that 1, 2, 3. It does make a higher high, but this gets back inside and closes. And it is a second entry short after 2 legs down. You got 2 legs down, and then you ran up, pulled back, ran up again, so it's 2 legs up. But anyway, this turns out to be a great trade. You're just really looking to get a scalp out of it, but this turns out to be a great trade. Probably get a runner out of it. You get a break, and you do break the trend line here, and you make a new low. This is another one. This looks a little congested, so I didn't like trading it in real time. But it breaks lower on this very bearish bar and turns higher. So you could trade that as an engulfing bar, because you do have your break and a couple of swings down, and this is a higher low. So I didn't mark it, but for that reason, I want to at least mark that green. The concerns here is it looks like it could be congestion, but you're so far away from the EMA, you most likely the congestion is because the down move is running out of steam, and we're about to reverse. And so that's when, a lot of times that's when you'll run into congestion. So you need to be a little more, this is a little more advanced. You need to make sure you understand what the chart's saying. I mean, is that a sure thing? No, so I'm going to make it green. We do run up here. There's another, I didn't draw this trend channel here. There's a trend channel up. I normally don't draw the trend channels on the retest, and that's probably why that one's not there. Turns out this is a bigger channel, but at this point you're just thinking it's a retest. And you run up, you get a close outside, move to a new high, and it turns down. I didn't like going short because you're expecting prices to go higher. So when you get a second entry here, that's where I like going long there. And I don't know if you could have got in this one because it gaps over there and keeps going. What I always tell people is go ahead and drop your, if you like the trade, go ahead and drop your limit order and see if it'll back up and fill you. I don't know that it would have or not. I was not at my desk at this point right here, so I'm not sure. But if you can get in it, try. But notice your new high, and you get a first entry, and then it turns down, and this breaks lower and fails and turns back up. So when it breaks above that, that's a second entry long. And you might even argue there's triple test across there. It's not perfect. I wouldn't trade that on a triple test, but with a second entry, I like it. This thing takes off. We just kind of keep working higher here until we find some resistance up here. And then you get this trend down, close outside. It doesn't make a new low. No, this is basically a double. These are all equal highs. You treat that like a double top, triple top, whatever. So when you come down here and you get a close outside and move to a new low, and it makes a higher low, you can clearly see that trend line's holding. And this is a new high, so first entry, second entry. So I like going long right there, and you can see it takes off, finds resistance there again, backs off, comes back, finds resistance yet again. And you got a lot of stem up here, and it closes inside on a very bearish bar. I like going short there. Yeah, it's a little congested, but that's clearly a 1, 2, 3 triple test. And it turns out to be, I mean, it kind of chops its way lower, but it turns out to be a good trade. Then you start working sideways. You're not getting any rejection here, so don't try to go long on that. I think this one, does this one have enough? I think it has enough, but it just does. But I didn't like it because of the congestion. If you took it, it would have worked. There's a higher low, but don't. That's just not a very good trade entry. And you don't want to go short there because it's at the trend line. But look what they do. They run this big bearish bar down, and it really makes a triple test across there, and you got this nice bullish reversal. I mean, that's not really a reversal bar, but you can see we're reversing off that triple test. Nice bullish bar. I like going long there. They trapped people with this. All that did was trap shorts. People don't know what they're doing. They don't see this channel. And that turns out to be a really nice, that's probably the trade of the day. I'm sorry, excuse me. My allergies have been rearing up the last few days with springtime and all here. But yeah, this thing takes off. Really nice trade. Pull back here, just the first entry. You get a few pullbacks, but nothing you can enter on. And you do get a close outside here and a couple of legs up, and then it reverses. But again, I don't really see, maybe you take this short right here. It looks a little congested. I think you need a lower high, and you don't get a setup for that, and then that takes you into 230, unfortunately. So, I mean, that's a maybe. But, you know, it's just not a sure thing because it's a little sideways there. But look how, you can see how far we are away from the EMA. So, again, it could just be congested because it's running out of momentum. You had your break. You've got a new high in place. It could be running out of momentum. But this has been a real strong trend day, and you've got to be careful shorting those strong trend days. Now, this one's a little different because we've got resistance all the way across there, and we did get a break, and I'm pretty sure we got a new high there too. Let me just check that. Yeah, you can see we got a new high. This high is higher than this last high. So it's a little different short in there, but once you realize that this channel's still in play and we're still going higher, then you got to start thinking, okay, I got to be careful with shorts again. But we got a break here and another new high. So generally I'd prefer a lower high here is basically what I'm getting at. Just more proof. And all a lower high gives you is just gives more proof that, hey, we're going lower instead of continuing higher. It just gives you a little more evidence that, hey, we're going lower, at least back to the trend line first. And you can see that's what happens. We work across here, we get a break outside, move to a new low, and it bounces right off the trend line, just comes back into play. And there is a little second entry here. It's a little too late to enter that one, but it's there. So there it is. That's how I saw it today. But yeah, larger two-tiered channel, break, and then a flatter two-tiered channel, smaller two-tiered channel. This one didn't last quite as long. My opinion here is that most traders probably saw this as a break and a new high and a double top, and they're thinking short here, and so they had a little momentum and drove it lower, only for the buyers to say, okay, this is a good buying point, I'm coming back in. And we closed almost, very close to the highs today, so you saw that on the daily chart. But there it is, a bullish day. Kind of a rally, continuation of the rally type day, and almost closed on our high. Volume still a little low, but it's still a rally to new highs. Not new overall highs, but new highs for the current trend, I should say. So, and what I think we're doing, let me go back to the daily. What I suspect we're doing is we're running for a retest of this high up here. Because we got this bigger. This was a spike in channel, and I believe we've had a close outside here, and you've got the tighter channel in there too. That and this one really never got confirmed until we bounced here, but we got a close outside at the same time. So maybe this is the legitimate channel, the gray one, and we had our break. And even if this one is legit, we still had a break. So I believe we're running to a new high here, and then we'll see what happens from there. But that's how I'm seeing it at the moment. But anyway, not much else we can say about this. So I'm going to wrap it up. Again, no chart lessons on Friday, so none tomorrow. We'll be back Monday. I think it's Mother's Day weekend, so hope you have a great, you mothers, hope you have a great Mother's Day. Tell your mom you love her. And I'll see you Monday. But I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.